Hello and welcome to the VGL 2v2 Season 1. We are in Week 3 action, and we have an exciting matchup here between two teams that have really hit the ground hard. We see some pleasantries going around, and let's do some introductions. Here we'll see Kid, a Protoss player, with his teammate TheBusiness, another Protoss player, making them dual Protoss. And they will be up against ElPolloLoco and his teammate Crump, another Protoss. So of course Boyo being the only non-Protoss on the map. And this map is Scorched Haven. It is our default map for here Week 3 competition, and it is a split ramp. We've actually seen a lot of popularity for this map on the selections, and you know, I guess people just like it all around. It seems like it's pretty balanced towards most of the races. Maybe a little bit of a tilt towards non-Zerg races, but other than that, it looks pretty decent. It's got nice paths here. See some openings from Kid and Business. We see some nice dual pylons going down to try and block off those ramps. Kid sending a scout in, and we see no gas or pull yet from Boyo, approaching the 2-minute mark. And we do see a gateway coming down, Crump opting not to wall off his ramp. So both of these teams undefeated so far. We are still a little early on, heading towards the mid-season, but both teams undefeated, so it does make this a bit of an exciting game, just because it means at least one person's not going to be undefeated by the time we're done here, or two people I should say. So it'll be interesting to see how these teams match up, and whether or not, you know, expectations are fulfilled. Both of these teams considered top teams. Kid and TheBusiness probably slightly more favored, just because they are basically a favorite to go all the way to the playoffs. So we'll have to see what happens there. Pollo, a bit of a newcomer. You do see him putting down now a spawning pool and gas. Go take a look at the income tab. So see that it's pretty straight across the board, except for Pollo, who's sacrificed a little bit of minerals for gas. Not a bad move there. You also see him scouting around TheBusiness's base. Business putting down a cybernetics core. Back at Kid's base, we do not see much action here. He's got some gas up. He's got a single gateway, but it looks like he is falling a little bit behind on the production. Go ahead and take a look at the production tab. We do see a zealot coming out for Crump, and just nothing but drones and tech for everybody else. So Crump has not built a cybernetics core yet. We do see 2 gateways coming out. That's usually pretty indicative of a rush. We'll have to see if a 3rd gateway comes down. Let's see, Boyle getting his speed for his lings. That could be indicative of yeah, definitely a ling rush. We see he has pulled the workers from the gas line. That is a very telltale sign that he will be going for a ling rush. There is also no early expansion here, but if we take a look at the vision, we'll see that while they have scouted that there is gas and a spawning pool coming up, they have not been back since, so they do not know that that he has pulled those workers, and that he is basically going for all Zerglings at this point. Go ahead and take a look at the resource tab. You'll see Pollo definitely has enough for an extra base. He is just accruing these resources here and larva, and he is going to attempt to really just hit these Zerglings hard if he is indeed going for that. We do see Crump starting to pile up on the workers here. There is that 3rd gate and a cybernetics core coming down, so that does confirm a 3 gate, even though that 3rd gate was down a little late. So we will see 3 gate action and a very aggressive push here, most likely at the, I'm going to say it's going to probably hit around the 7-minute mark at this rate. I don't think they'll have enough for a 5.5-minute rush unless Pollo wants to go with the slow lings. He does have that speed about to finish up, and there it goes, just finished. And meanwhile over here, we do see Kid playing his typical macro game. He does have 2 zealots on hold there. It looks like he's a little indecisive in where they'll go. He is also building gateways to kind of wedge in his ramp a little bit. We do see him with full saturation. Take a look at the income tab here. We'll see everyone basically pulling ahead of Pollo, who has opted to go with more Zerglings than anything else right now, which is definitely indicative of some kind of early rush. TheBusiness putting down a Twilight Council. Could go either way with that. Most likely going to at least get some charge lots out of it. And we do see him also with an on-hold position. Not much in the way of unit production here for the 2 Protoss members. And we do see a rollout coming in now. We do see Pollo moving, but he has been spotted. Kid has taken this Zelnaga tower, and he does see these Zerglings massing up. Crump opting to go down the center has not been detected. Unfortunately, they just chose the wrong side, and we see Kid also moving an observer into play. And here come Crump's zealots. They're marching into business. It looks like he is a little indecisive on how he wants to play this. He was at first rolling out, but he does not have enough units on this. He's going to definitely need some help here. Take a look at the unit tab here, and you'll see that there is not much. Business has 4 stalkers. You see 5 zealots out now for Kid, but he is not moving those zealots. He is holding them in position. We do see Pollo just kind of hanging back, waiting for his opportunity. He is definitely playing some kind of counterattack here, and Kid has taken the bait. He is moving in with his zealots to try and defend this, and Crump was down to only 2 zealots, and you know, the business definitely had that. See more zealots rolling in from Crump, and here come the Zerglings rolling in on Kid. He did move earlier those zealots away from this hold position, so unfortunately those Zerglings are going to have no problem getting right into Kid's base. We see a huge string of zealots coming in here, and we see 32 Zerglings on the map, and they're going to try to pick off as many of those workers as possible, but they will get caught up on these zealots here. They did detect this fast robotics facility, which is going for an immortal. It will not see the light of day as it goes down, and now we have both armies completely saturating Kid's main here, trying to take out all these Zerglings. Zerglings go for this Nexus, but they're going to abandon it, and he looks like Pollo wants to keep these Zerglings to fight another day. Takes them around the long way, and he's going to head for that opening, and the business will not beat him to it, and Pollo has made it out alive. He will try to, no, looks like he will not try to pick off this expansion, and he's probably just going to scout around, try to get last minute intel, and he's going to go ahead and well, it looks like he'll take a pylon on the way out. Why not? And Pollo trying to head into business's base. At this point, he's overstayed his welcome. He really needs to get out of here. And wow, what a nice early attack there. Didn't do as much damage as Pollo probably wanted it to do, but it forced Kid to pull his workers for quite a while with no base to put them on. That's going to hurt his resources just a little bit. Take a look at the resource tab here. You see the business inflating the minerals dramatically here, but Kid is drastically low on minerals, so it did definitely slow Kid down. How much, we'll have to see. It depends on if Pollo and Crump plan on putting the pressure up. We do see an expansion coming down for the business, and Pollo running right back in. Unfortunately, he is going to be met by a much larger army this time around. Business has quite a few. We see 11 stalkers down for business, and we do see Pollo starting to position some of these overlords, or at least one overlord, right around the business's base. Of course, he does have these pylons out just to check and see. We do see some more pokes coming in here from Pollo as he tries to kind of gauge the strength of this army and try to. It almost looks like he wants to bait it to try and run out. We take a look at the unit tab again. We'll see there's not much else out here. We do see Crump has 2 zealots and a handful of stalkers, and we see more Zerglings coming out. No upgrades on them yet. Take a look at the production tab here, and you'll see Kid is literally not producing a single thing right now. He is just saving up resources and trying to bounce back from that. We take a look at the resource tab here. We'll see he's just starting to crawl back up. He is supply blocked, and that will just take some bouncing back here. We did see a ping on the map. Kid does have a pylon in that position. Keep an eye on things. However, his Xel'Naga has not been defeated yet, and this is right now a big highway for ElPolloLoco, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and try to take that Xel'Naga, and he's going to find out that his plans have been spoiled from day one here, and we're going to go ahead and take that down. We do see Crump also rolling out with a probe of his own. Looks like he's going to place a proxy pylon down, and we do see a nice rollout coming here. Lots of zealots. Strangely enough, no charge on these zealots, and Stalker is very susceptible to Zergling attacks, and zealots are a great meat shield, and Kid building them will definitely go into use, but he needs to get charge on them so that they can intercept those Zerglings and pull aggro from them to avoid these Stalkers from kind of getting caught up in front. Right now, these Stalkers are in the front of the line, so Zealots being a melee unit can definitely get kind of stuck in there. We do also see Kid doing an excellent job with observers, keeping an eye on the main front of the shared base here, and without any detection, he's basically just getting all this intel for free. He's able to see everything that's going on. Pollo holding this pack of Lings back. He has poked in a few times. We see Kid finally going for that robotics facility. There we go. And you see just a sea of gateway units here. I mean, just tons and tons of gateway units. He's warping in nothing but zealots, and it looks like they're just going to go for a half Stalker Ball, half Zealot Ball. It's a little interesting considering that Kid really prefers Colossi. And we finally see Charge on the Charge lots coming down. That's going to be very essential, as those Zealots will need Charge to properly intercept any kind of Zerglings. And it looks like Kid is going to go for his third base. He's usually a very aggressive macro player, and that really led to a little bit of a problem early on, since he only had a handful of Zealots, and they did such a good job with that misdirection attack on the business. They were able to take advantage of Kid's base being basically unguarded and try to hit that mineral line, causing him a little bit of a decrease in minerals early on there. We see Pollo using this pack to kind of scout around, also looking to take his own base there, just waiting for some minerals to pile up. And back at the main base, we do see now Hydralisk and Roaches on the map. Good, strong combo. Roaches, of course, acting as the meat shield. Hydralisk providing the DPS. And we do see Kid has now sent out a pack of his own Zealots to kind of roam around. He will check the unnatural third, as I like to call it, of Scorched Haven here. And he will find Crump just starting to get his build on. And that will go down at the same time that Pollo eliminates Kid's attempt for a third base as well. And it looks like Kid will leave those Zealots there to just kind of hold pace. And Pollo also rolling out with his own Overseer there. Still a little slow, though. And looks like he will try to get some vision, maybe even some spies into this base, some changelings. Let's see how that works. We see lots of pinging. We see a huge army rolling out here. It is splitting, though, down this middle. Oh, looks like they're redirecting there. Stalker's out in front with Blink. And we see +1 on the armor and on attack here, and it should be pretty interesting to see how these two armies match up. Right now, I'd say that it looks pretty fairly even here. If we take a look at the unit counts, 17 Hydras, 12 Roaches, 25 Stalkers to 34 Stalkers, 2 Archons, and 20 Zealots. It looks like we have a slight advantage in favor of the Business and Kid on this. We'll have to see, though, if they can get a good blink on these Hydras. It looks like the Business is pulling back. He lost the Archons, which would have been great. Fortunately, the Archons hit on the side that had no bio, really. It would have been much better to micro those Archons into these Hydras a little bit. You see some blink going in to protect those Hydralisks and kind of replace the Roaches of the meat shield here. This is going to come down to the wire. It's very, very close. This choke point is working against them, as some of these Stalkers are just kind of scampering back here. They're not able to get any fire down. And it looks like they will hold off this attack, but definitely a Pyrrhic victory, as they had to trade most of their own army to do it. See more Archons on the map here. You have to wonder if the Archons, if they're not going to be able to get the range with such large massed armies like this, it may be better to just go for the High Templar Storm. At least you can get behind the meat shield and try to take something. We do see Pollo taking advantage of that misdirection, going for or distraction, I should say, going for his third base. We see another army marching in here. Lots of Hydras, a handful of Stalkers, and they should easily destroy this remaining Stalker army and try to march in. These Archons just sitting idle. Needs to get those Archons into play, as they are a great counter to anything biological, and they can definitely do some damage on these Hydras. And you do see finally some charge lots rolling in and just shredding these Hydralisks. The Roaches will give them a fight, and we see that pack of Lings finally coming in to also back up their fellow bios. And you see them rolling in on these Stalkers, and they will definitely do some damage now, as they were able to hit that army. We do see some more Zealots coming in. It's a good counter to this mostly bio soft army here. And we do see a lone Immortal coming out. However, it is firing at the wrong units. You see Kid microing it away. Definitely good choice there, making those Hydras chase while those Zealots pick it off. And some definite exciting back and forth action here, or I should say really not back and forth, but defensive action here. Is Kid and the Business on defense for most of this game. They have not been able to make a single push yet. And this game is definitely very contentious here, as we see both of these teams kind of fighting back and forth. And it looks like Pollo has built 2 Hydralisk dens. I'm going to go ahead and guess that one of these was meant to be an Infestor Pit, and he just mismicroed it, as that is a very common mismicro mistake for Zerg players. We do also see DTs down on the board, lots of upgrades going in for the Business and Kid. We also see Robotics Facility coming down. That will definitely bring Colossi, one of Kid's favorite units. And we don't see anything for Crump, but we do see some more Hydras and Roaches on the way, as well as a Queen, most likely for that third base. And we do see another army starting to roll out here. Now we do see some DTs in this army mix here, 4 of them to be exact, and they will definitely do some massive damage. However, they have to stay out of range of these cannons here, as well as up here, which gives them a very narrow choke point here, where they might be able to get absorption or some attack abilities without being detected. It looks like, unfortunately, they are way too close to these cannons. Those DTs will lay down some heavy damage, but they are not going to last for long. It looks like they will be able to take out at least. It looks like they did take out one of these Immortals. Those Immortals, of course, so deadly to anything armored, especially Stalkers and Roaches. However, they're completely overwhelmed. This army is definitely too much for Kid and Business to handle. They have been playing catch-up the entire game. This is starting to look very bad, as this army is definitely decent in size. We see Crump coming in with his own charge lots, taking out those Archons before they can do any massive damage. And this is going to be very, very bad indeed, as this army just kind of rolls in here. We see Crump blinking past Kid's wall, and he's going to go for the mineral line as they are desperately trying to do as much damage as possible before those warp gates are able to kick in. We do see a possibility for Colossi, and we see 2 queued up, ready to go. And this is definitely going to be tough. You see the unit count here drastically in favor of Foyo and Crump, as they are just laying waste to everything in their path. You see the income levels starting to dwindle for the Business. Crump as well, as since he has only running on 1 base. And there's the GG with the first game going to ElPolloLoco and Crump. An exciting win for them. Both teams, of course, undefeated, fighting for their undefeated records here, but also fighting for the favoritism going into Week 4. Because this being a Week 3 match, we've seen enough to see who's really up and coming, and both of these teams have proven themselves. And this matchup is really a test of grit and strength to see which one of these teams is going to come out on top. Very exciting first game. We'll have to see if Kid and the Business can bounce back in Game 2.